So listen, I had this crazy idea for a fire-powered bathtub. It turns out it's actually not a unique idea, but it was to me when I had it. Plans changed. This was the original concept. Bathtub full of water. It gets pumped into a tank until the tank turns this pump off via a modified toilet shutoff valve. This pump right here will be actually turned on and off by the user of the bathtub to pump in hot water from said tank. It uses electricity. It's got a bunch of expensive pieces. There's shit running everywhere. There's pumps and switches and people in bathtubs with electricity next to them, and there was just a lot of reasons that wasn't good. So, as I got to digging around online, I found a stupid, simple idea. There's a company, they're selling them and they call them a Dutch tub. Basically what they're making is a giant salsa bowl with a big metal coil sticking out of the side of it. I'm going to scale the damn thing down a little bit to the bathtub size. And then this coil, we're going to run out and do it in copper pipe. Mainly because that's just kind of what's accessible and easy to me. We're going to go shopping around. We'll see what we can find. Well, it was a few hours of driving, but we have a bathtub. We have a foundation. It is level. It doesn't look great right there, but I'm going to fill it with water. See if we can weigh the thing down and see if it settles in. I've been getting rained on. It's getting dark. Tired. Going inside. We'll resume this tomorrow. As you can see, we let her sit overnight with water in her. We've got easily 600 pounds sitting on these blocks. I was really hoping that would settle in a little better than it did. Well, as you can see, that's sitting much better. And we're going to cut some holes and install a fire-powered heating unit. This is the part where I can waste all my money. We have two holes. They're not aligned super well. Really doesn't make any bit of difference. I did go off center from the overfill on purpose. I wanted to get as much height out of that as possible. Next up, heat exchanger time. So, did some stinking. It needs a platform to sit on. So we're gonna do a little measuring, get ourselves a base on the ground there. I should have maybe mentioned it before. These are fire bricks. They can deal with like 2200 degrees Fahrenheit. I plan to set a fire right on top of these blocks. If you try to do that on top of a cinder brick, it's just gonna explode on you. Gotta use some kind of a fire brick. I got this at the lumber store for $3 a pop. I'm sure you can find them locally. They were twice the price online. Don't have them shipped to you. It's probably about time I come clean on some things, guys. I'm no expert in this field, or in that field, or, well, in any field, really. I'm a bartender. I just do this stuff for fun. Something kind of unforeseen, at least to me. I'm sure a lot of you guys are shaking your heads and laughing at me. That wall of the bathtub's not exactly vertical. So for the moment, that's my plan. I'm just gonna flex the bathtub. Yeah, not ideal. I'm gonna need to put a spacer in there. Got her good and stuck on. I'll wipe that flux off of there. Let her cool off, give her a little yank and see what we got. Sat there thinking about the way this pipe's flexed. I absolutely hate it. So, went out and I got a foot of rubber pipe, rubber tubing I guess I should say, and some of those hateful little things. Just gonna cut it off and make like a maybe like a 2-inch flexible section in there. I think it's going to be better to have a tiny little upward jog for those last couple inches than it is to flex my tub over the coming years. Quick tip, if you're going to be in a tight space trying to work with a hose clamp, make sure you grab yourself the longest screwdriver you have. You know, what's life without a challenge? This is going to be a fight, but we'll get through it. Okay, that's how far I got before the pipe cooled off on me. Got some up-down movement out of it. That went reasonably well. Look at it from here, you can see they're all kind of headed upwards a bit, which is precisely what we want. Unfortunately, we're getting later in the day. Time for me to clean up, go to work. We'll resume this in the morning. I'm doing that thing where my project's almost done, and I want it done now, so I'm playing at night. Yeah, I couldn't wait. We got her ripping. I'll show you everything in the morning, but for now, we're gonna set her on fire. Well, I'm not ready to call it a success, but it certainly wasn't a failure. Did we take a bath? No, we did not. We did stand out here next to a fire for about 3 hours. One of the problems was that. Having a fire 3 feet away from a bathtub, you end up with a lot of soot in your bath. The other problem I had was that we stood here for 3 hours and we did not have hot water in that bathtub. So, we're gonna get a little shroud. Let me back up here. I'm gonna go all the way around the entirety of the thing. So that guy there is the drum out of an old dead dryer. It's pretty much exactly the size I want, so I'm gonna just cut myself a little slot for the copper pipes to slide through. It ain't beautiful, but you know what? It's gonna do the trick. I'm thinking I might come in here to the darkness, and I might just cut a few little slits in the bottom, and then fold a couple of little pieces in just to give me something to kind of catch a few of those coals. So the bottom of that thing got a little denty, a little smashy, but you know what? I love what happened in here. Check it out. Pretty much all the way around, it's gonna grab the vast majority of the coals and ash. But yeah, you're gonna be able to get a massive fire in here. And I'm also even thinking of putting a cap on it. We'll see. This didn't work. I'll tell you why. Because I'm an idiot. The fact is, I mean, the whole thing, it's just not going to be stable no matter what I do on this block in here. I mean, you know, the whole thing is, what is that, 16 inches by 16 inches. So, went to the hardware store and I got some of these guys. These guys are going to get pounded into the ground. Oh, well, we have our shroud fully installed. My welding job aside, we're looking all right. Mission absolutely successful. It was way too hot. I did have one issue. My coil compressed. About the level of this guy was where that one was. The whole thing was smushed. I'll get a spacer between each pipe. That'll stop that from happening. Something else happened, which I'm not happy about. We sprung a leak. Uh-oh. It's alright. It's awfully slow. For right now, I'm just going to live with that. You can see how quickly the water is coming out. Obviously, it could have simply unsoldered itself. Now, that said, I think I know the actual culprit here. When we got into that thing, it was hotter than shit. So we sprayed it with the hose. And that was probably a mistake, because I think that could very well have cracked that solder joint. That's what I'm going to make. Kind of hugs a piece of pipe, not too badly. Make as many of those as I can get out of the remainder of my pipe right here. Okay, I ended up with 9 of them. I'm not going to solder this in. I'm just going to leave them loose. I think about all that's left is to get that sewer tube right on over to... We're going to jump into this union right here. That will keep the poop from my black tank from running back up into my bathtub. All right, we actually got her all in there. Decided to go the long way around the fire pit. And we are all tied in. All right, so here we are. We've got the tub nearly full. I've just started the fire, and it is 4:45. So we're gonna see how long this takes to get hot, and I will report back. Well, it took 4.5 hours, but it was worth it. Well, you guys, that pretty much wraps up this project. I did want to discuss a few things with you on our way out. One, this copper pipe really just wasn't a great plan. It works. It's doing the job. We've taken a bunch of baths. It's doing the trick, but I will say, I have to adjust these coils every single time we have a fire. I do think that using the thicker copper pipe would help a lot. It's not that much more expensive, another $5 a pipe. I don't have kids, but I know some of you do. I do have drunk friends, and I think that a fence, something around that piping hot stove thing that you got going on right there would probably be a good idea. Patio, man, it's absolutely essential. You get out of this thing and you step right into the mud. One thing that comes to mind right off the bat is that there is no pressure relief valve on this system whatsoever. I'm not going to install one. I suspect that there's no greater than 5 psi building up at any point in that system ever. I guess the last thing I want to mention is something I think should go without saying. You guys work within your abilities. If you're not comfortable with any of this stuff that's going on here, I don't know that I would, tackle this as a first project. I just want to say, guys, thanks a lot for joining me. This was a lot of fun. I had a great time building this thing. I'm looking forward to many years of using it. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one.